Hey guys, welcome back to Coin Knowledge. So we're going to be taking a look at one of these sector leaders in the AI narrative, and one that has actually had a couple big updates, announcements for the project, and why I think if you're looking for a broad exposure to the AI narrative, if you're bullish on AI as, as an altcoin narrative, making a comeback, as we have seen multiple times, we've seen AI, altcoins make a run up to the upside, but obviously we are seeing so far into 2025, alongside the overall market, we are seeing the AI sector getting hit quite hard here. But as always, if you guys get value out of the content here, if you want to stay in the loop with the uploads that we're putting out every single day, then if you guys could subscribe to the channel and like the video, your support means a lot. So if we take a look at the AI sector, again, we can take a look at the top. We see stuff like Near, Bittensor TAO, Render, just to name a couple. But the project we're talking about is TAO. Now, I have stated this multiple times in the past. If you're looking for just, again, broad exposure, just kind of a high cap to get allocation and, in your portfolio to the AI sector, if you don't want to go down the rabbit hole that is AI agents, which is a separate sub narrative of AI, just make that clear. But to go down the rabbit hole of AI agents, low caps, even mid caps, if you just want a staple or kind of an anchor for the AI side of your portfolio, I do think that Bittensor TAO is still something that you should be taking a look at here. And we are seeing it up about 18 to 20% on the day. Now we'll get into a couple things. We'll get back to the price action and where it stands right now, and where potentially I could think it could go throughout this cycle towards the end of the video. But let's start out with the fact that Coinbase did just announce that they are going to be listing and adding support for TAO. Again, Bittensor TAO here, which again, this has been a long time coming, and it is good to see, Coinbase list a solid AI project. Obviously, we know that there's been a lot of controversy about Coinbase's, listings so far this cycle. They've been pretty heavy on meme coins, as well as I think the last AI project major one they listed was Venice, the VVV token, day one. But we made a video on that one, in the past as well. So the fact that they're listing Bittensor TAO is, this is a long time coming, especially when we look. TAO already has essentially all the tier ones. I mean, they have Binance, they have Crypto.com, now they have Coinbase, they have Kraken as well. So they have all the other exchanges. So, Bittensor is definitely set up to go on quite a run whenever we do see the money rotate back into the AI sector. Now, obviously, we're seeing it up 20% today, whereas we see a lot of other altcoins that are still bleeding out over the recent news here. Again, catch yesterday's video if you guys want to be in the loop into what has been going on in the short term here recently. But also, when we look at Bittensor, they did go ahead recently and put out the major update for their ecosystem, which was the Bittensor Dynamic TAO, which has been live for about five to six, maybe about a week now at this point. Now, obviously, if you're not aware of what Bittensor TAO is an L1, so kind of a blockchain for AI. They also have these subnets, involved with their ecosystem as well. But this change with Bittensor's dynamic TAO, so the DTAO token, is a huge change for its ecosystem, more specifically for the subnets here, because before dynamic TAO, a small group of validators, pretty much controlled, subnet performance and TAO rewards. So it was pretty one-sided. But now after the upgrade, TLDR, long story short, this is going to be, giving a lot more power to the community, whereas you can actually go in here, stake your TAO, and get a 1-to-1 ratio for the new DTAO, dynamic TAO token. You can actually start allocating it as well, and support, some of these more up-and-coming, subnets on the TAO ecosystem. So this is actually pretty insane. If you want to learn more about this, again, I'll retweet this post as well. I don't want to just read it off for you guys. You guys can do that. But either way, when we look at the TAO ecosystem, when we look at the subnets, I think there's, what is there, like 67 roughly, about mid 60s right now as far as subnets go. So if you actually want to open up one of these, we'll open up Root, obviously the first subnet here. If you want to look at it, it'll show you the market cap, the FTV. If you want to buy, the token here, obviously this is just, at one, but if you, as an example, if you wanted to buy, the alpha token for, any individual subnet, you would get TAO, you would stake your TAO, I believe, and get dynamic TAO, and then you would buy it down here as well. And then that's how you could support some of these different individual subnets. But again, this upgrade is huge. So they have had their dynamic TAO upgrade. They got listed on Coinbase. And again, the long, the TLDR, long story short, is if you guys are looking for a staple, especially right now, obviously we're seeing low caps, even some mid caps get hit extremely hard here. I mean, it's rough out here. We're seeing a lot of projects down, 30%, 40%. A lot of them are not making great recoveries for the most part over the last couple days. So the fact that Tau is still, in my opinion, a staple. I don't think Tau is going anywhere. But those are some big, or big updates for the Tau ecosystem. Now, as far as where they could potentially be going, again, as an infrastructure play for AI, not only being really the leading AI token for the narrative, but also just infrastructure for AI being, the top L1 chain for AI specifically. They have their subnets going on as well, which is getting improved on, obviously with the dynamic TAO. We can definitely see that TAO, in my opinion, even though, yes, it is up a little bit right now, I still think that TAO is pretty undervalued, especially when we look at the 1 month. It's held super strong compared to, again, a lot of other projects and different narratives that we've looked at over the 1 month. I mean, most projects you guys know were down about 30 to 50% over the 1 month, even if they are bouncing here over the last couple days. But TAO's actually up for the 1 month, and even before, the recent announcement with the Coinbase listing, they were still trading, pretty sideways here. Now, obviously, I think around like the DeepSeek announcement, we saw TAO kind of take a nosedive under 300, but they got eaten up extremely quick. Now, if you look over the 1 year where TAO has been, obviously its all-time high was about $760, so it is down 41% from there. But if we look at where this was literally about 60 days ago, before we saw the markets kind of go, into more of a negative shift here recently in 2025, TAO was over $700, so it where it was literally, not that long ago was not quite double from where it is today, but I do think TAO, if we're looking at high caps for the AI sector, I still believe that you cannot fundamentally beat TAO. Now, is TAO going to give you something like a 50 to 100x? I generally don't think so. Now, whereas it's not impossible, I definitely wouldn't be saying that. But I do think TAO does still have it in it to give you anywhere between a 5 to 10x here. So you have to realize with something like TAO, you could potentially, obviously not financial advice, the benefit to having such a high cap and a staple and a sector leader is that it gives you the opportunity, if you're looking for that in your portfolio, you could potentially go heavier into something like TAO than you would something at a $20 million market cap, just because TAO is going to give you, let's just say, a 10x versus a low cap will give you a 20x. You're not going to put, ideally, you shouldn't put the same allocation and weight into that low cap that you would something a little bit safer, a little bit more stable than something like TAO at the market cap that's out right now. But yes, it is at a high market cap. 3.7 billion is definitely not small here. But, I do think that we see TAO pull a 5 to 10x from here throughout the cycle. Now, again, when nobody knows, but the fact they are pretty much covered in the exchange listings here, wrapping up, in my opinion, with Coinbase. They are, giving, pretty big updates. I think the dynamic TAO is going to be huge for the Bittensor ecosystem and all the different subnets on TAO. So I think we will potentially see a TAO season, if this update really does, catch on. If it is, as huge as it is made to be, which I do believe it is huge in a right step in the right direction for the TAO ecosystem. Now, if you want to something a little bit more riskier, but you're bullish on TAO, obviously you could play a bunch of these different subnets, or you look at projects that are building on TAO that maybe are at a lower market cap. So if you're bullish on TAO, essentially the same if you're bullish on something as an example like Avalanche. If you don't want to get invested into the main, coin, you could play its ecosystem and look at, things underneath of it. So that is an angle you can also go as well. If you guys want some projects that are building, on the TAO L1, on the TAO ecosystem, let me know in the comments below. We can definitely cover some if you guys want my opinion on what I'm looking at. But that's just a couple updates here for Bittensor TAO. So yes, it's not as shiny as potentially some low and mid caps that are admittedly getting hammered right now. But when the market does turn bullish, they give you bigger returns than something like TAO. But having a staple and an anchor like TAO in your portfolio could definitely be benefiting you, especially over the 1 month where we see it's a lot more healthier and a little bit more stable than something like a micro to a low cap. And again, you're going to potentially put more of your portfolio allocation into something like a TAO than you would something at a $5 to $10 million market cap. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. Let me know if you're bullish on TAO, or are you playing its ecosystem? And if so, what are some of your favorite projects within the TAO ecosystem? Or if there's other projects in the AI narrative that maybe you would look for a replacement of TAO if you're looking for just broad exposure to the narrative here. Either way, let me know down below. And if you guys got value out of the video, if you're bullish on TAO, if you guys could like the video, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share the video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right. See you guys.